Hey, Merelda.
Hi, Joanne.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
You look like you are in an office. Are you at your home office? Looks very
Yes,
nice in
it's
the
my
background.
home office.
Oh,
Thank you.
lovely. Nice to see
It's
your
my
face.
pandemic
Last time
plant.
we chatted, it was just your voice, and now it's nice to put the face to the voice.
Yeah, and I actually put on a shirt. So
I just got a jersey on, so it's not quite as formal as you, but it's cool because I'm not really as corporate as you, I feel. So you dress the part, which is great. Merelda, I'm gonna try and not talk for too long, but just before we get into the intro, I just wanted to warn you that I will ask a few other questions. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, which I forgot to talk about it all the last time, was that you're obviously not from South Africa originally, right? I mean, I can pick up, you've picked up the South African accent, but there's just tell me a little bit more about, because I want to bring that in, because, people will hear that and it'll be going in their heads the whole time. And I'd like to just, address that question.
Yeah, sure. I came to South Africa when I was 17, so about grade 11. And when I first came, I actually got put into a maths lit class because obviously my English was so bad. They didn't know how to communicate with me. So I stayed in there for a double, and they handed me a big booklet that I thought I had to finish by the end of the class. And then I handed in, and I was super stressed at the end of the class. And I used my very broken English to tell the teacher that I couldn't complete the exercise. And she was like, "Oh, but that's for the year."
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
So people realized, math lit is going to bore the hell out of you. But so where were you from before?
I was born and raised in Taiwan.
Taiwan, okay.
It's a little tropical island next to Hong Kong and China.
Yes, yeah, no, that's fabulous. So I will ask you just a little bit, just to touch on that. It's quite a nice little anecdote if you want to bring in the mathlet story. It will also set you up for the fact that data science, maths ability and data science do kind of go together quite a bit. So that's just a worthwhile anecdote to bring in. So excellent, Merelda. How's the rest of your week been since we last chatted?
It's great. It has gotten very cold
No,
over the past 2 days.
you can't see my shoes, but I'm in like warm Ugg boots and a polo neck jersey, and I'm freezing. So I feel like I need to crack the heater open soon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. And I was like, no, it's April. I can't, well, it's not even April. I can't do that.
No, I think it's about time. Apparently in Joburg, I mean, I'm from Cape Town originally, and Joburg, my friends were telling me that winter comes a little bit earlier than Cape Town. Like Cape Town, comes only in May, kind of thing. So who knows? Maybe this is the start of winter. We'll see. Hopefully not.
No.
I really hope not.
Yeah. Because I spent summer in the Northern Hemisphere for the past 3 months. I was like, no, I can't go back to winter again.
Where were you?
I went back home to Taiwan.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
and so obviously Northern Hemisphere. I don't even know, is the Taiwan like temperature, is it like Europe or is it like
No.
no?
We're subtropical, so it's quite similar to Joburg actually. We're 23.5 degrees north.
Okay, yeah. So
But it's still winter,
I
and there's still
know. Well,
cold
Joburg winter
fronts.
still feels, you're cold and you don't get to have that
Yeah.
hot feeling, which is, anyway, you can just, when the vaccinations come, you can just fly back and get somewhere warm again.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool, Meralda. Well, I'm going to kick off. So what I will be doing, obviously I'll be cutting all of this part of the conversation And depending on how the interview goes, I might actually cut it into 2 pieces that I run as separate recordings. Or, you know, if we kind of want to cut it down and make it much shorter, then I'll just like snip little pieces that I think are great and then make a short. I'm looking for about 10-minute as a final product kind of webinar. And of course, I'll share it with you to get your approval before anything goes and gets posted and is live.
Great, thank you.
Cool. All right, so let's count it down. 3, 2, 1. So welcome. I'm here with Merelda Wu of Melio AI. Merelda is our data science guru for the day. And Merelda, welcome. Nice to have you.
Thank you. Thanks, Joanne. Thanks for having me here.
Excellent. And so you haven't really been able to hear Merelda's accent yet, but Merelda comes to us from, she's been in South Africa now for a very long time, but she comes to us from Taiwan. Tell us a little bit about when you got here and what your experience has been like in South Africa, just to kick us off, Merelda.
Yeah, sure. I came to South Africa when I was 17, so that's about grade 11. I think I came about 2 weeks before the June exam, so it was super stressful for me. My English was really broken. Nobody really knew how to communicate with me, so they even put me in like a math lit program, which I was very stressed at the moment because I got like this really big booklet that I thought I had to complete by the end of the double class. And it turns out it was for the whole year. So
you
I
went and
very
completed that
quickly
whole book. Wow, in one class.
No, I couldn't. So that's why I was extra stressed. I had to cry to the teacher and be like, hey, sorry. Like I had to use my translator. I didn't know what square root is in English.
Wow, yeah.
And I got upgraded to the normal maths class very soon after that.
That's excellent, because I can imagine your maths would have been pretty solid coming from Taiwan. The stereotype is that, you know, Asian countries do very well in maths. So obviously the stereotype works with you as well. Merelda, so you've been in data science now for a while, but what I would love to let everyone understand a little bit more about your journey. What took you into data science? What was the road and the qualifications and the things that took you into data science? Tell us about your story.
Sure. My route to data science is a little bit roundabout, but from what I've heard from all of my other data scientist friends, it's also quite roundabout. It doesn't seem like there's a straight path to data science because it is still a relatively new field. So what I did in high school was I always gravitated more towards a math and science type of subject. So I naturally chose a STEM degree to do when I was in varsity. I studied electrical engineering, and of course, I didn't know at the time, but the top degrees to enter data science are actually statistics, computer science, and other engineering degrees.
Okay.
And my professor at varsity always say that electrical engineering isn't about power systems, building antennas, or circuit boards. It's more about solving problems. It's about asking many questions, creating hypotheses, using a scientific method to solve these problems. And I find that really is what data science feels like to me. So when I graduated from master's, yes, definitely, it's more about training the brain to solve problems and be confident in your ability to ask the right questions than the actual hardcore engineering skills. Well, obviously those are important too. But when I graduated from master's, I decided to do something a little bit different and use my problem solving skills to test. So I went into a flavor of management consulting. My first job was an analytics consultant, and one of my projects was to help a client price their new product. I was a fresh grad. I didn't really have any experience in pricing models. I didn't study actuarial. So I started researching on how to do this, and that's when I stumbled across a relatively new field back then, and that is data science. in a lot of my research, I realized some of the courses I did in varsity, such as statistical techniques and software engineering, all tied into this discipline. So it gave me a little bit of a confidence boost to say, hey, I know this stuff. So I started reading a little bit more and became more interested in it. It was a fun way for me to improve what I already do on a day-to-day basis. So I decided that I want to become a data scientist and created a whole like after hour learning curriculum for myself.
Wow, while you had a full-time job, that's impressive.
Young and ambitious.
It's what we need to be, yeah, when we're young. That's the idea. Excellent. And so you then kind of started going into data science by yourself, kind of leading yourself down your own learning path. But at this point, you were still working in a management consulting firm.
Yeah. So my day job was, when I was reading a lot about data science, a lot of people depict data science in this Venn diagram. One of the circle of a foundational data science skill is business acumen. Another one is maths and statistics. And the last one is software engineering. So the curriculum that I built for myself was on Monday and Wednesday, I would work on my software skills. And on Tuesday and Thursday, I would study math and stats. And I was hoping that my day job as a consultant can help me hone in to build more business skills, such as asking the right questions, communicating complex technical ideas to business people. And after doing that for a couple of months, I felt like I became more ready. And then I started looking for an actual data science job.
And so on that, for those, I mean, most of my audience are kids that are in, or let's not call them kids, teens in high school. And, data science is a buzzword that has been becoming more and more mainstream, but the day-to-day reality of what a data scientist does, I still feel is quite a black hole to many, many people. And so can you try and enlighten us? Tell us about the day-to-day world of what a data science job looks like.
Sure. As a data scientist, your one day will never be the same as your previous day because there's just so many things that a data scientist touch on. But if I were to cram everything of what I do into the day, it would sound something like I would start my day by having a meeting with a business stakeholder to find out what is keeping them up at night. Then I would go back to my desk, translate this usually qualitative business question into something a little bit more quantitative. Then I would start designing experiments and gather
Melda, give us
data
an
to
example
prove.
of one of those, to make it more concrete for everyone. Give us an example of one of those problems that would keep a business leader up at night and how you would translate that from the qualitative to the quantitative.
So I was chatting to one of an HR tech startup, and they were seeing that some of the candidates keep going past to the initial interview, but some of the candidates keep getting left behind. And we were doing analysis on what the difference is purely just based on their CV, because that is what usually the HR person in the company gets is just the CV. So we analyzed a bunch of the different CVs and realized that the CVs with professional photos seems to have a higher success rate than the ones who don't, or they have blurry images or photos of like Super Mario or funny aspect ratios. So the problem is that when we told them that, they were like, okay, no, that's great, but we don't have enough manpower to sift through these photos. So we asked if we can build a CV analyzer for them, CV photo analyzer as start, to kind of just have an automated response to tell the candidate, hey, your CV, you need to show both eyes, or your CV needs to be upright before you upload them, etc. Just to kind of help them to get that initial kick of, I am a professional person and I'm capable to be hired into a professional world.
Excellent. And so, because I can imagine, I'm sure many of the teens listening can attest to this, people don't always follow instructions. So even when the HR company said, please make sure your eyes are visible, you have a professional photo, people didn't always follow the instructions. So you need the machine then to come back and give them a response that says, sorry, that photo is not correct or not according to what we need. So you built that, that's amazing. And I'm sure, so other kinds of problems, you're generally sitting down with business leaders, you're analyzing what are their problems, getting them to then talk about those problems, and you then having to go back and figure out the quantitative side of that, what that means. And are you always building a program then to address that problem? Is that generally how the solution would work?
Yeah, so data science actually works in different type of phases. The first one is a very big analysis phase, and that portion is about really problem solving, is to ask a bunch of different questions and iterate with the business person to see, is this correct? Is this what you're expecting? And then once we hone down on that final detailed yes, we want a CV analyzer, then we'll start writing a software program to then kind of automate this entire process to make sure that it continuously generates value even when everybody is at sleep.
Okay, no, that's fabulous. And Merelda, if you had to, I'm thinking about the teens that are listening in, if you were kind of talking back to your younger self, you know, I'm not going to ask you your age because that's not appropriate, but when you're looking back at your younger self, why do you think, if you now are in the data science world, you've been in the data science world for a number of years, what do you think about your kind of way of thinking and interests and personality? Why are you so well suited to data science, and what is kind of a good recipe for someone that is interested in data science? What are some of the things that they need to start cultivating now already in high school to be able to excel in this career?
I would like to think that I am well suited for data science, but that shall remain to be proven. But I think one thing that my mom always told me was I was that super annoying child that kept asking my parents why this, why that, and I would argue with them for hours and hours until they say no, because I say so. And while arguing with them, I also realized that one of my biggest personalities, I like to debate, or although my parents like to call that argue, but I always like to use facts and figures to support my viewpoint. So I'm that person who like draws up charts on something that's like super random and really make my day-to-day decisions based on data. And for the past couple of years, the media has branded data science as the 6 years career in the 21st century. But I think that has created a lot of misconception around the discipline. Data science sometimes is not as glorious as the world makes it seem. People think that data science is about building cool machine learning model, building robots, the fourth industrial revolution. But that really is just a super tiny part of what data science is. I have a project that started out as let's build a machine learning model to do all of this cool stuff, but it evolved into just finding anomalies in the data because the data is too unclean to build any machine learning model. So I guess my point is for someone to really fall in love and really be at ease with data science, they really need to fall in love with data and be comfortable with finding minute details and really keep asking questions and being curious of what the data is telling you, rather than use your own biases to kind of influence your own decisions.
So you've got to have quite a detail orientated brain, you know, and really like detail to be able to excel in data science, I would imagine, because you, on the one hand, you've got to be able to solve some big problems, but on the other hand, to solve those problems, you've got to go down into the detail of a massive spreadsheet and look at lots and lots of data. So it's kind of the mix of the left and the right brain, really. To be super successful in data science, you've got to be able to do both of those.
I also don't think it's necessary to be super of everything. For example, I really wasn't a detail-orientated person as a kid. I'm always the person who like leave my keys everywhere, can't find anything, and like drop a zero or drop a comma in like my typing. So it's something that you can cultivate and something that you can grow into. But I think the fundamental personality trait is curiosity.
Got you. That's amazing to hear. And so you love so much data science so much that you've started up a company in data science called Melio AI. Very exciting. I'm going to ask you a few more questions about that in a second. But first, I just wanted to, I mean, you've sort of been talking about data science a lot, but I want to hear from you. What specifically do you love about data science? Like what wakes you up in the morning excited for your job? Tell us more about that.
Coffee.
It helps us all.
Yeah. But so the company I started is Melio, and Melio is Latin for imagine. And at Melio, we imagine a world where AI is frictionless for everyone. And this mission really is why I love data science so much. I heard a quote from Netflix yesterday. It says, "The future is here. It's just not evenly distributed." And AI is one of the most quoted thing for fourth industrial revolution, but a lot of people and companies either don't have the skills or the resources to adopt it. Because right now it really can be quite complicated. You need to be a maths wizard, you need to be a software engineer, you also need to have really good understanding of the business. So data science really is in this intersection between the business people, the software engineers, and these hardcore mathematicians and statisticians. And as a data scientist, you have to listen to what the business describing a problem, translating it into something that can be quantitatively solved, and write that calculation into a software program, and then continuously use it over and over again. And this whole process requires a lot of creativity, a lot of problem solving, and most importantly, actually requires a lot of interaction with different type of people from all walks of life. And that really is super exciting for me.
Fabulous. No, and you started up Melio when you were 29 years old. I mean, that's so young. I mean, for the teens, that's going to sound old, but for an entrepreneur starting up your own business at the young age of 29, I mean, that's when a lot of people start working or are in their first job. It's so brave of you. What did you see? Like, why were you so convinced that there was a gap in the market, that you leave your cushy management consulting job to start up a new company from scratch?
I wouldn't describe myself as brave, but more just hopeful. That I think, as I described before, Melio is founded on trying to make AI frictionless for everyone. And the gap that I see is from my previous consulting job, that I realized building machine learning model really is just one little tiny aspect of the entire pipeline that delivers value. So to continuously generate these value from the machine learning model that we build, it's so many things needs to happen. And it's a word that's a little bit hyped up recently, and it's called ML ops, which means machine learning operations. And what it really means is to deliver ML model to the users as fast and as reliably as possible. I can see your eyes going a little bit hazy, like, what are you talking about? So maybe I can give an example that can tie ML ops into something that's a little bit more understandable for your listeners.
Always helpful.
Yeah. So maybe we can use the restaurant business as an example. Everybody has eaten at a restaurant. Data scientist is kind of like a chef at a restaurant. We focus on taking the fresh ingredients and making it into a plate of delicious food for our customers. But for the food to get to the customer, there are a lot of things that need to happen. First, need to be a kitchen, and the kitchen needs to have all the tools that a chef would use, the pots, the pans, and the knives. So the person in data science world who built this kitchen is called an infrastructure engineer. And then there also needs to be a waiter who takes the customer's order and give it to the chef. And this person in data science world would be called a data analyst or a business analyst. And you also perhaps need a sous chef to chop up the carrots and the onions. And these people are the data engineers that transform these raw ingredients into something that a chef can use. And lastly, there is a restaurant manager that makes sure that all of these people and all of these components are working together, the quality is checked, and the food gets to the customer reliably, very quickly, and delicious. So that's what MLOps is about, and that's what Melio tries to solve. Is we want to be that glue to make sure that everybody who wants to use data science can really get the value from it.
That's amazing. I mean, I wish all people could explain data science the way you do. But yes, and ML Ops is, I mean, I only heard about it the other day, and then you and I were talking about it, and I never properly understood it until your restaurant analogy. So thank you for that.
Great.
And Merelda, last question for you. Where do you see data science going in the next, you know, I love your quote from Netflix, the future is here, but we all know that there is still a new future coming in 15, 20 years. The speed of which innovation is coming at us is just phenomenal. You're at the cutting edge. What do you see data science looking like in 15, 20 years? Tell us a little bit, give us a flavor, and we're not going to hold you to these predictions, don't worry, but we're just trying to kind of get a sense of what's coming.
Yeah, 15, 20 years is a very long horizon. Like
Maybe
20 years ago, data science was not a thing. But I think self-driving car is very potentially a very quick reality that we can see. And I'm also very interested in this advancement of gene therapy and gene editing, because the improvement in obviously big data and computing power and a lot of better ways in handling data, this gene sequencing actually is becoming more at the fingertips of normal, well, I wouldn't say normal people, but geneticists.
Yes, and becoming
I
more
think
widely available.
Yes. And I also foresee a lot of the hardcore modeling would become very commoditized, as it has already been happening with the AutoML. But I think because of this, the industry can both grow vertically and horizontally. So what I mean by that is there will be very, very deep specialization of a specific sub-branch of data science. For example, like gene sequencing for heart diseases in, I don't know, 70 to 80-year-old people. Something that's like very deep vertically requires a lot of technical expertise, but it can at the same time be very horizontally grown. So a person such as an accountant or a lawyer can also very quickly pick up a lot of the tools that has AI embedded in them to make their jobs a lot easier and a lot faster. We have already seen this in a lot of the finance or like retail industries. So I can just foresee that also goes across to all the different type of industries.
Becoming more and more available.
And robots taking over the world. Jokes.
Yeah, well, we all believe some bits of the science fiction, and I do foresee that Melio AI will be at the forefront of all of that. So congratulations on all you've achieved so far. It's still a young company, but I see it. We must watch out for the headlines with Melio AI in the future. But thank you so much, Merelda. It's been really lovely talking to you, and hopefully we'll do this again sometime.
Yes, thank you very much, Joanne. Have a great evening.
You too. Ciao. Bye.
Bye.